Tesla plans to deploy robot army, calls it innovation.
Only 20% of Asia's trade execs trust economic forecasts, and yet Wall Street calls it confidence. When crystal balls are murkier than a politician's promises, but hey, let's bet the farm on it anyway.
Florida tops foreclosure charts, Tampa crowned epicenter of housing distress. When your state's housing market is more distressed than a reality show marriage, maybe it's time to rethink those beachfront condos.
California home detonates, injures 8, and authorities still blame faulty wiring. When your house is the latest blockbuster, but you didn't sign up for the pyrotechnic special effects package.
Because nothing screams unity like moving tanks faster than tourists, right? Maybe next they'll make a diplomatic Autobahn.
BlackRock ejects Tony Desperito and
Bob Diamond touts healthy correction in risk assets, but investors feel the pinch.
Alabama Public Television mulls PBS divorce, citing cultural clash. When your state's education strategy mirrors a soap opera breakup, you know the plot twist involves more reruns of closed minds than open dialogue.
Working Families Party backs challenger to John Fetterman, declares it a grassroots revolution. It's like trying to swap out a punk rocker for a boy band in the middle of a riot. Good luck with that, folks.
In a world where some still march backward, it's refreshing to hear punk's middle finger raised with a righteous fury that never fades.
US approves $500 million Patriot launcher upgrades for Ukraine, calls it defensive diplomacy. It's the arms race equivalent of a makeover show, same old military-industrial complex, now with a fresh coat of geopolitical tension.
John Cochrane blames central banks for inflation, ignoring corporate profiteering. When the sea rises, blame the tide makers, not the oil-slicked ships riding high on their own waves of avarice.
North Macedonian court tries 35 people for nightclub fire, justice delayed but not forgotten. With more defendants than safety measures, this trial might just be the hottest ticket in town, if only the stakes weren't so tragically high.
Iron ore shipments hit record high in October, and Australia's government calls it sustainable growth. When the planet's resources are bled dry faster than a politician's promise, records become the new normal and sustainability the punchline.
U.S. Treasury stops minting pennies, claims its progress, though vending machines weep. As the penny rolls into history's piggy bank, we're left wondering if the nickel is next on the chopping block.
Only 12% of Trump's closest allies remain loyal, and his legal team calls it solidarity. When loyalty's thinner than a billionaire's tax return, even the allies start looking like frenemies with subpoenas in their pockets.
Trump's niece calls him a despicable pig, but insists pigs deserve better comparisons. When even farm animals are out of your league, maybe it's time to reconsider your insults.
Kessler twins choose to die together at 89, legal and dignified. In a world where synchronized swimming gets more airtime than synchronized dying, these sisters took one last step in perfect harmony.
New heart disease calculator predicts 30-year risk, but who wants to plan 3 decades of worrying? Why wait for 30 years of anxiety when you can start panicking about your heart health today?
Irish labourer buried alive for 61 days documentary claims it was art. Because nothing screams cultural enrichment like playing hide-and-seek with mortality in a box underground, all for the sake of spectacle.
Theatrics aside, when justice drags out over a decade, it often feels more like a soap opera than a swift verdict.
Senate to pass Epstein Files Transparency Act. Trump claims indifference. When the truth's too hot to handle, indifference becomes the best political sunscreen.
UEFA pits Spain against Turkey for 2026 World Cup qualifier, yet the real winner is FIFA's advertising revenue. Because nothing screams beautiful game like squeezing passion into a commercial break and a corporate logo.
Hedge fund dismisses bubbles as non-predictive, then continues to blow hot air. Apparently, the only thing less reliable than a market bubble is the hedge fund trying to convince us they're irrelevant.
U.S. universities face surge in anti-Semitism investigations post-October 7th, despite pledges for inclusive campuses. Because nothing says welcome like a spike in hate, turning campuses into battlegrounds of broken promises.
Oil prices drop after Zelensky agrees to US-Russia peace plan draft. The peace is bad for business. It's astounding how the prospect of peace can send oil prices tumbling. Who knew tranquility was such a market disruptor?
Nvidia earnings loom as stocks drop, wiping out $1.6 trillion globally.
University of Sydney reports 42% of Australians face childhood trauma.
Jeff Bezos launches new AI startup with himself as CEO, then claims it's a fresh perspective. Because nothing screams innovation like the same billionaire at the helm, ready to automate the world into his own image.
Only 30% of Ukrainians feel optimistic, and Russian state TV calls it a victory. When your enemy's best propaganda is your people's dwindling hope, maybe it's time to redefine what winning actually means.
The EU plans to eliminate cookie banners by shifting consent to your browser, and calls it user empowerment.
trading 1,000 clicks for a single setting, the EU's browser revolution might just save your sanity from the cookie apocalypse.
If the future's written in war, maybe it's time we start hiring generals who can read between the lines and avoid drafting tragedy.
Indian bank stocks hit new peak, then investors pray it's not a mirage. As foreign interest swells like a monsoon, let's hope these banks don't take a page from the Titanic and set sail straight into an iceberg of bad loans.
Optoreach claims to streamline outreach, then suggests you're still a human. When your software is selling personalization, but you're just another cog in the automation machine, maybe it's time to reach out with a heart, not a bot.
Only 20% of pop songs truly surprise, and Deathwish Casanova calls it intuition. In a world where every chorus sounds like deja vu, these alt-pop rebels might just be the musical mind readers we've been waiting for.
Zelensky dismisses new US peace plan, then asks for more military aid. When your peace plan's rejected faster than a Tinder date, maybe it's time to swipe left on diplomacy and right on reality.
Scientists uncover chameleon-spiraled optic nerves, then call it a revolutionary discovery 2 millennia late. Turns out, these tiny lizards have been flexing their biological Wi-Fi long before we even dreamed of multitasking.
Because nothing says sound economic policy like playing financial Jenga with a blindfold on.
Only 2% of eukaryotic lineages remain unsolved, and scientists claim it's a breakthrough. When you're down to 2% of the mystery, it's like finding the last puzzle piece under the couch, unless it's shaped like a banana.
Because when in doubt, always blame the stars for your database disasters.
SpiderCat's Redis database fails connection, still claims stability. When a database connection flops like a fish out of water, calling it stable is like labeling a sinking ship buoyant.
Patrick Mahomes' signed yearbook auction ends soon, promising nostalgia at a price only die-hard fans could justify. Because nothing screams investment opportunity like a teenage scribble from a future NFL star.
European Commission proposes AI-friendly GDPR revisions, and privacy advocates call foul. When lawmakers try to retrofit privacy laws for AI, it's like fitting a jet engine to a tricycle. Expect turbulence and a crash landing.
Nick Fuentes gains notoriety, becoming more than just a fringe figure, yet mainstream media struggles to define him without amplifying his voice. When your claim to fame is being not just another boogeyman, maybe it's time to reconsider your career path.
Only 14% of affiliates succeed with CJ, and the rest call it a learning experience. When your business plan sounds like a reality TV pitch, expect more drama than dollars.
Bitcoin plunges 30% since October peak, leaving leverage traders trapped in a digital quicksand. When your financial strategy mirrors a high-stakes game of Jenga, don't be surprised when the whole tower comes crashing down.
Markets when your entire financial strategy hinges on one company's report.
Neo-Nazi leader admits plan to poison NYC kids with candy, still claims it was for a greater good. When your greater good involves candy-coated murder, maybe you've misunderstood the entire concept of humanity.
Only 50% of teens understand consent, yet schools teach safe choking methods.